Welcome to my brain. Welcome to my brain. Welcome to my brain. Welcome to my brain.
I wanna sleep around, I want it to mean something. I wanna sit on the couch, I wanna be someone. I want the name brand, I don't wanna pay. I want it both ways. I want the rainforest, and I wanna burn carbon. I wanna do the crime and get the full pardon. I wanna be safe and have something to say. I want it both ways. Welcome to my brain, it's a party where the beat never stops. It's hard rock, jazz, metal, hip hop. Can you catch the feeling so appealing? The shoe ever drops, the bad cops are join us at the tip top. Hey, reality, I'm waving from the balcony. Catch me if you want me to play. I want it both ways. I want it both ways. I want it both ways. Thank you so much. I'm Scott Mulvahill. I'm a musician and singer-songwriter, and I'm really interested in the way we can use technology to elevate ourselves. This is DataBass, and it's an invention that I dreamed up. You just got the joke, right? That I dreamt up and built for that purpose. And it's a bass. It does bass things. But it's also a sampler that can play back pretty much whatever sound I want it to play. And today I want to use DataBass as a way of examining the purpose of technology, both in art and in the tools that we all use, because I believe that the purpose behind our tech and our ability to define it well is the difference between elevating us or eliminating us. So I'm going to tell you all about this, but before I do that, let me back up just a little bit. I've been performing my songs on the upright bass for years now, and it's the instrument I love best. And it's kind of an unlikely hero in the world of singer-songwriters because most people would get up here with a guitar or a piano, but I chose the bass because it's the instrument that I play the best, where I have the most to offer, and it's really where I found my own artistic voice. And when I started crafting my songs on the upright bass, I did that by using it for bass lines, but also for counterpoint melodies and for percussion, and sometimes doing all those things at the same time. Let me show you. This is my song, Begin Againers, and if I were to just play the bass line, it sounds like this. Add counterpoint. Percussion. And that makes a nice bed to sing a song over. There's nothing like a blank page. You get to start from scratch. It could be anything, man. There's no catch. It's a good place for a dreamer. A good place for a dreamer to dream away. A blank page. Thank you. And combining all those elements, I can make a lot of sound and give you, the audience, the impression that there's more on stage than there really is. And I've played a lot of shows, just me and my bass, and traveled pretty far doing that. But as I played all these shows, I had this thought that entered my mind and would not leave, which is, what if instead of giving you the impression of other sounds, I could actually harness technology to create those sounds in real time? And that's how the idea for DataBass was born. I bought a soldering iron, and I dusted off my 9th grade coding skills, and I just started hacking away until one day I plugged it in, and it was like, it works. And the first time it actually did what I wanted it to do was a pretty amazing feeling. And to be honest, it's kind of a challenge to use, but when I've got it all going, it really combines my loves of songwriting, music production, and live performance all in one thing. The song that I played at the beginning is called Both Ways, and it's a new one of mine, and I chose it because it represents a universal struggle, which is that we humans are relentless and audacious in wanting more. We always want more, and we're always reaching to the point that we don't always know what it is we reach for. We want all the benefits of that and none of the drawbacks. I recently read an essay written in 1987 by the author Wendell Berry, and it's called Why I Am Not Going to Buy a Computer. And in the essay, he makes the case that a computer wouldn't be an improvement on his writing tools of choice, which were a pencil and paper. And he said, "Do I wish to write faster, easier, and more? No, my standards are not speed, ease, and quantity. I've already left behind too much evidence that writing with a pencil, I've written too quickly, too easily, and too much. I want to become a better writer, and for that, I need the help of other humans, not a machine." And I like Wendell Berry because he wasn't and isn't only concerned with the quality of his work. He's a conservationist, a humanist, and if I was going to sum up his viewpoint in the article, it's not that he's against technology per se, it's just that he seeks dignity for people, dignity for our environments, and freedom from technologies, products, companies that chip away at our independence. I read his article on my MacBook Air. And I don't suppose I would score super highly in his moral universe, not just for computer use, but because I'm hopelessly addicted to pop science YouTube channels, and I practically neglect my carbon footprint, and I participate, like most of us, in our society that seeks and worships technology, progress, growth at almost any cost. But if we're talking about progress, I don't know that we always measure that in a complete way. Where does our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health fit into the equation? And, of course, the integrity of our environment. And what about the tightness of our communities? Shouldn't these things matter to us at least as much as share price? Okay, but Wendell Berry didn't score perfectly either. He admitted and bemoaned the fact that he drove a car. I presume he rode in an airplane at some point. He publishes books that are printed on elaborate machines sold by big publishing companies. And he participates in the economy because, in his words, he doesn't know how not to. And to the extent that we even examine the proper role of technology in our lives, I think that's a lot of our dilemma. We feel like we must adopt the new social media that's come out and everyone's on. We must have the latest gadget. We must accept the new values of what matters, you know? And when I think of all the tools and the toys that we let into our lives, the question that comes to my mind is, to what end? What is it that we want? And what kind of world are we actually trying to build? And maybe that looks like better health outcomes, a fair economy that provides a lot of opportunities for everyone, facts that win over disinformation. We all have our list, but closer to home, maybe that means I want peace of mind, and I want authentic, unmediated relationships with people I love. And I want to enjoy and feel good about my life and not be caught in an endless loop of comparisons. Because we often fail to answer the question, what do we actually want? And when we fail to answer it, we end up serving people, purposes, companies that we never intended to. But back to database. I did not invent every single piece of this system, far from it. I didn't invent the little computer that runs the software or the lights that are programmable. I didn't invent the upright bass, this one is like 90 years old, by the way. I certainly didn't invent MIDI, which stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. And MIDI is what lets database talk to my computer. So when I press a pad, it cries. It sends a message to my computer, and that tells the software what sound to play. So I go about finding sounds or creating sounds, like this is my voice recorded here, and I lay sounds out on the 12 pads of database, and then I just play around and add and subtract things until I feel like I have something I can make music with. Thank you. And what's cool is I can change sounds on the fly. So if I'm going to the next song or the next section, I can have a whole new soundscape to work with. And yeah, I didn't invent every bit of this, but I did combine some very different things, some seemingly opposite things, like a 90-year-old bass and MIDI technology. And from what I could tell, that's what a lot of innovation is. It's finding a connection between tools that we already use and things we already know for a purpose, a specific purpose. And in my case, this specific purpose is this instrument that is meant to give me a whole new set of sounds to play with. The purpose also drives the form of any tool we build. Like, I need the pads of the database to be in reach of my hands so I can play bass lines and get to them in time. And I needed the lights to respond to the touch because I want you, the audience, to make a mental association of what you're seeing and hearing. The funny thing is, if I just wanted a backing track, I could karaoke it and press play on something, jam along, and that would actually be far, far easier than doing all this. But the thing is, I'm intentionally triggering the sounds live because I really care about live music and live performance. And on my best nights, at my best shows, the magic of live music is in the air, and that is the uniqueness show to show. Knowing that the arrangement and the delivery is going to be a little different every time. That's also the risk of failure. If I'm not walking a tightrope up here, it's not as fun for me and it's not as fun for you. And the soul and vitality of a live performance is what I strive for. And like Wendell Berry with his pencils, they're elements that I'm unwilling to dispense with. The purpose of this isn't to bury me in a wall of sound. It's to give me a greater palette of sounds that I can work with without squashing what makes my performances special and uniquely mine. AI is the topic of our times, and kind of like social media 15 years ago, I hear a lot about what it can do, but not a lot about what it's for. And I wonder if we're having that conversation enough. As you know, it's trained on pretty much all the data on the internet, which for a moment I'd like you to think about as the heritage of our ingenuity. That's so much of the collective work people have done for hundreds and thousands of years. And as it's getting sucked up by AI, I don't know that we want to hand that over at such a low price, because we may look back and, if we're not careful, realize that the purpose behind AI could be just to corner ever more wealth for a few people and a few companies, if we're not careful. And maybe we'll need older technologies like government, education, to make sure that the new ones serve us well. A lot of people were pissed off by Wendell Berry's essay, who criticized him as being antiquated or hypocritical. And he responded to his critics saying, "Do I wish to keep up with the times? No. My wish is simply to live my life as fully as I can. In both our work and our leisure, I think we ought to be so employed. And in our time, this means saving ourselves from the products we are asked to buy in order ultimately to replace ourselves." Written in the 1980s. You know, the hardest part of DataBass wasn't actually building it. It wasn't coding the lights or finding materials or burning my hands soldering it. The hardest part was, and still is, using it in a compelling way. In a way that's alive and breathing, that really serves me and my audience, and at the end of the day, just helps me make some cool music. And maybe all of our technology at scale isn't so different. We're building it and building it all the time. To what end? Thank you so much.